5 tips to make the most up-leveled yogurt custard toast. So I was recently scrolling through all of my social medias and I came across this viral recipe for custard toast made with yogurt. And it sounded delicious because I love toast and I love breakfast and I love custard. And surprisingly, I had everything at home to make what I was seeing on the interwebs, so I did. And I just wasn't that impressed. So here's my version. So for this custard toast recipe, if you haven't heard of it, it's typically a slice of toast with a yogurt custard baked in the oven or toaster oven or an air fryer, and it's just going viral right now. Hey, if you're new here, I'm Doug, and I love bringing you recipes from my kitchen along with tips to make your cooking experience even better. So let's talk about the main ingredients, which leads me to our first tip. Swap out the toast for brioche buns. Rich, buttery brioche rolls like these are delicious, and because they have a crust on the top and the bottom, when you pull them apart, they make the perfect little boat or vessel for that delicious yogurt custard. As for the yogurt custard, I'm using plain Greek yogurt, whole fat, and I'm not getting anything with flavorings yet. I'll add those later myself. A little bit of egg. I like some fresh fruit on top, and along the way, we'll add some additional flavorings to make it taste absolutely delicious. Okay, let's mix up the custard. We need 1 egg, and I like to put it in a little measure here, and you'll see why. All right, to our 1 egg, we're gonna put in 3 tablespoons of Greek yogurt. And I find like a little double spoon approach helps to get it off the measure. I think a pinch of salt is always important, even in sweet things. And for this custard at this point, we're gonna just stop right there. I'm gonna give it a little whisk, and then I'm gonna set some of this aside to show you another trick. So hold on with me. And that brought us up to just below half a cup. I'm gonna take about half of our mixture and just divide it. You'll see why in just a little bit. Now to this mixture, I do want some additional flavorings that will be really yummy with the fruit that we're gonna put in. So let's go with a little bit of vanilla, if I can get that lid off. Just a drop or 2. Remember, our yogurt was unflavored. Now, a lot of recipes said to use honey, but what I found is when I put honey in the cold egg and yogurt, it just didn't mix up very well. So I'm just going for about a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of granulated sugar here. And I do want a little bit of lemon zest. I think that'll give it a nice little hit. If you don't like lemon, don't put it in. But I'm gonna put in about a quarter to half a teaspoon here. Give that another whisk up. Okay, I'm preheating my toaster oven to 350 degrees, and let's put our toast together. And we're coming up with tip number 2. So you wanna push it down, and a lot of folks say, you know, push it down with your fingers or push it down with a spoon, but I just thought that that looked sort of sloppy. So tip number 2 is use the bottom of a glass or jelly jar that's just less than the diameter of your brioche roll. So I'm using a jam jar here today. You do want to be careful to make sure that you have created some walls or sides to the roll so that your custard doesn't spill over when it bakes. I've had pretty good luck, and I have a really old school little sheet pan specifically for my toaster oven. Lots of age on this thing, but I trust it. It works really well. So I'm actually not lining it today, but we're going to put both of our brioche rolls on there to bake. Okay, let's talk about tip number 3. When I had this custard toast, I didn't really love how the custard sank into the toast. It sort of made for a little bit of a mushy bread sort of thing. And tip number 3 is really about giving these little brioche roll boats a little bit more protection from getting too sogged out. And by doing a little bit of your favorite kind of jam, this is apricot jam. I think I'm gonna pair this. Oh, our toaster oven's ready. That's great. Just a light little smear of jam. It adds a lot of flavor. Hopefully it complements the fresh fruit that you're using towards the end. I'm using blueberries on this one. And then I also have some raspberry jam. So we'll just do 2 different flavors here today. And maybe with this one, we'll go like full on raspberry. It'll probably look nice and lovely for, you know, a treat that you could make any day of the week, but maybe on a weekend, maybe for a Valentine's Day, you know, something special. Now it's time to allow that custard to just sink into that divot that we created. And careful not to put in too much or go over. We're gonna pop this in our 350-degree toaster oven, and they toast for about 12 minutes or until the centers are just barely, if not jiggly at all. Anywhere between 10 and 15 is probably a safe bet. Nice golden color on the edges, and that custard is not jiggly at all. Perfect. Okay, so our custard toasts are out of the toaster oven, and let's talk about the fruit. And for me, that is another tip. Keep the fruit fresh. Some of the recipes I tried sliced the fruit or put the fruit on the custard and baked it. Maybe it's my palate versus yours. I just didn't like it, and I tried it with strawberries, so maybe there's a better fruit out there. But I like keeping these just sort of with fresh fruit. So with our raspberry, I've just rinsed some of these raspberries. I'm gonna pick some of the best ones to place on top. And then my little trick with the raspberries is just to give it a drizzle of honey. And this is my fork and honey drizzle trick. Just stick the tines of a fork into your honey jar, and it adds a really nice sort of whimsical drizzle across the top. And then for the blueberries, we'll leave a little of that residual honey on there. I just took a little bit of blueberries, just a couple, and I'm gonna give them just a quick little bit of a smash, maybe a squirt, a little squirt of lemon. I think that'll be good. Remember, we're gonna put this on with the one that has a little apricot jam underneath. And again, either a bit more honey or even a touch of sugar here. If the fruit's super fresh, you probably don't need to do anything with it, but I think that last little bit of mashing and a little sweetness looks really good. These look completely delicious, and I can't wait to dig in. But I have to be honest, I don't always crave, in fact, rarely do I crave a sweet breakfast item. It's usually savory. And for some reason, the custard kept reminding me some way towards hollandaise sauce or eggs Benedict. So I think that would be a great savory combination. And that is tip number 4, go savory. Let's do it. All right, let's follow the same steps as we did before. 1 brioche roll, taking our jam jar. Now remember, we reserved half of our custard from earlier. I think just a little dab of Dijon mustard, not very much, maybe half a teaspoon, and we'll give that just a little, again, the official word, smear around. I do love myself some eggs Benedict with hollandaise sauce. Excellent. All right, now for our reserved custard, I think toaster oven's ready again. A pinch more salt, and since hollandaise usually has lemon, I'm gonna put a little squeeze of lemon right in the custard. I think the other thing that might be good here is, eggs Benedict often have a ham or asparagus component, so let's do a little of that. I have like just a small piece of deli ham, and we'll just give it just a rough chop, but just so a few pieces fit in the bottom of our vessel here. Now, I happen to have a package of asparagus, so I think across the top, just to be a little bit fancy, I'm gonna put just that little asparagus sprig. It's raw right now, but it should, let's do a little shorter one. And in fact, getting a little bit fancy here, why not put a little almost leaf-like pattern with some of the stem. Looks pretty good. All right, back in the toaster oven, 350 for 12 minutes. Oh, and remember, if you like these tips on custard toast, give a thumbs up down below, add some comments on what you think or what you're doing with custard toast, and make sure to subscribe so you see more videos from my kitchen and so more people can discover the content too. Looks really good. I'm excited. I think it needs a couple more toppings to finish off that sort of hollandaise version. I always like a light sprinkle of cayenne pepper, and I think the color could look really good. And then also, I know that cheese is probably not traditional for hollandaise sauce, but I have a little bit of grana padano here, and I think just a little bit over top will go really well with that asparagus and that custard. Savory or sweet, yogurt toasts are so delicious. I hope you try and make them. And here's tip number 5. Swap out the Greek yogurt for ricotta cheese. It makes a nice fluffy custard. I've been trying it in a couple different ways. And if you like these ideas and more ideas about breakfast, check out this video. I think you'll like it. Look at that perfect layer of custard. It's like a cheese Danish. All that ham. Oh, that mustard underneath. Oh, it's good. Okay, so our brioche toast. We've made this viral toast. It's an If you like these